What's up, fam? Thanks for tuning in once again, or for the very first time. I'm Jasper the Filmy. Now, I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt that you may not be aware of where this scene comes from, or the movie that this scene comes from, because I've looked at my analytics and apparently a lot of you guys are within the age range of 18 to 24 and 25. So you may not know the name of this movie, but this is one of my all-time favorites, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And I love this movie for a lot of reasons, and I want to unravel this particular scene because there's actually a lot of meaning in this scene. And I see a lot of enlightenment and motivation that you could share as a creator to people when you are being creative. But I got to also acknowledge the fact that there is a little bit of controversy as well behind this scene, because it's hard to unravel.
Snozzberries! Who ever heard of a Snozzberry?
We are the music makers, and we are the dreamers of dreams.
But I'm gonna tell you guys why it's a little controversial. It goes behind the story of the writer of this story altogether. And this is actually based off of the book that was created back in 1964 by Roald Dahl. And he wrote the book. It was actually called Charlie in the Chocolate Factory before we saw this version, Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory. And obviously we later on, some years later, saw the Charlie in the Chocolate Factory spinoff. Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory portion was hitting on a line in the book where Roald was obviously introducing the kids, the adults, to the wallpaper that had taste to it. And the Snozzberry has a little bit, the Snozzberry has a little bit of a problematic story behind it, because in 1979, Roald Dahl wrote an adult novel, and this is in the 1970s now. He wrote an adult novel about the Snozzberry, and apparently it was kind of understanding in the context he was talking about that the Snozzberry was actually a representation of a male's genitalia. So let's unravel this for a second. We can't confirm it, but we can't deny it that Roald Dahl used this term pretty frequently. And if he wrote an adult novel really graphic in 1979, the argument was that this guy had a pretty vivid mind that can sometimes cross the lines of perverted. So if he wrote a child's book using the word Snozzberry in it, then some people argue that this is what he was talking about. So this is a pretty rough visual that this guy was giving Willy Wonka the words to say that the Snozzberries taste like Snozzberries, and people are licking the wall. So what do you say?
There's a hole in the side of my stall.
Sounds like you found yourself a glory hole.
Yes.
Yeah, obviously it's a really controversial topic. Want to give your point on the topic? Definitely put your comments in the comment box down there. I would love to hear what you got to say. I do want to shift the attention a little bit because, like I said earlier, there definitely is a little bit of empowerment and motivation in this particular scene, because I believe this represents the story of all creatives out there: filmmakers, scriptwriters, actors, actresses, anybody in the entertainment industry or creative space. You know this feeling really well. You know the feeling of cynicism. You know the feeling of doubt from people around you, even when they're experiencing your creation, even when they're in your presence. If you've seen this movie before, you've seen the process that they had to go through just to get into the presence of Willy Wonka himself. And this girl literally embodies a lot of people that are out there, where they know what you're worth, they know what you're capable of, and yet they're still doubtful to you. They still have cynicism to what you can do. This girl is literally licking wallpaper that tastes like fruit that he created, and she has the nerve to be cynical. It sounds crazy, but there's people out there that will do that. So if you're a young creative out there and you are not aware of how you pretty much check people in this process, you got to look at what Willy Wonka did. Not only did Willy Wonka stop her in the middle of her enjoying his creation, but he also gave her a reality check of who he was and who the people that was around him he associated himself with. He was talking about multiple people. We are the dreamers of dreams, and we are the music makers. And there's a beauty in understanding not only who you are and who's around you, but also understanding what they are capable of, as well as you in that process. Because the late great Kobe Bryant even said this too. He said something about, paraphrasing here, he said something about being able to find something greater when you're in the process of building yourself and practicing.
You know, you guys know that, you know, if you do the work, you work hard enough, dreams come true. You know that, we all know that. But hopefully what you get from tonight is the understanding that those times when you get up early and you work hard, those times when you stay up late and you work hard, those times when you don't feel like working, you're too tired, you don't want to push yourself, but you do it anyway. That is actually the dream. That's the dream. It's not the destination, it's the journey. And if you guys can understand that, then what you'll see happen is that you won't accomplish your dreams. Your dreams won't come true. Something greater will.
If you're a creative, you will probably be someone that can be in the circles of Academy Award winners, Golden Globes, Emmys, and what have you. And that's all going to be great and fine, but you're going to find something even greater when you really start digging into your craft, when you really start digging into your work and start going through that process of finding yourself through your work. Because when you start really digging into what your work is and what you can complete through your work, then you start to gain something really special. Self-validation. And that self-validation is going to be the very thing that's going to give you that confidence that you've been bearing to live some days. When people would have cynicism around you and doubt you and question you and be negative, when they know who you are. Matter of fact, they're actually benefiting just to be in your presence. It's not an arrogant thing, but it's a reality to the fact that when you have somebody that has an evolved mind, that has self-validation, everybody that's around them can benefit from them, and therefore they are actually in privilege to be in your presence. When they can see that you see who you know who you are, and you can see that, might want to rewind that back because I just said that pretty fast and that sounds pretty deep. But when you know who you are and you can speak to that, the gift of self-validation is really special, because for one, there's just honestly nothing better for you to be at a place, whether you're a creative or not, but there's just nothing better as a creative when you are faced with a problem, or you're faced with a challenge, or you're faced with a mystery, and you have no other choice but to dig deep and use what is within you to solve that problem, and see yourself in the process of while you're solving that problem. Because once you see who you are when you're in the problem and how you can get yourself out of it, man, oh man. To all my fellow creatives out there, look out for the Verukas of this world. The people that will take advantage of your creations and your gift. Some will be aware of the fact that they're taking advantage of you, and then some are just going to be natural human beings that will just take advantage of a benefit that helps them live. Nevertheless, be aware of both of these types, because the reality is you have proven to lots of people, especially to the ones that are aware of what you're capable of, that you can somehow or another create something that was a mystery, solve it, and create it into a success. So I'm actually working on another video from another movie that I love in my archives of films that talks about that process of self-validation for you creatives out there. So I would definitely encourage you to check it out. Once it's up, it will be right there in the box, so you can see it. And also, if you're someone that is loving the motivational sides of these films and you just need a pick-me-up on some Mondays, I would definitely encourage you to subscribe to this channel, because every Monday you will see some special messages in some of my favorite films and some great films of all time. Hope you like this video. Definitely encourage you to hit the like button, and I would also encourage you to capture life and create visions.